Yes, welcome. It is that time again. That time to review upcoming fixtures in the Premier League. I say weekend games, but we have a Friday game. So weekday slash weekend. Um, One Friday game. Let's jump straight to it. We got Wolves at home to Liverpool. Both teams on good form. Liverpool in fantastic form, so much so that they've overtaken Premier League champions Man City in the Premier League. They sit at top of the table. Have a chance to extend their lead, being the only game on Friday. Um, Putting pressure on Man City to pick up a win to keep up with them. And I think they will. They will, even though Wolves are on a three-game win. They won three games on the bounce. In that, beating Chelsea 2-1. So, they're not in bad form. They're playing very well. They're very stable. They're playing very, structured football. They're doing very well. They're scoring just enough goals to win games. They're conceding very few, more so now than they were at the beginning of the season. They're conceding less. And some individual players are playing very good football, like Jota, Doherty, Ruben Neves, Jimenez, etc. So they're doing well, but I think Liverpool will win this. I don't think Wolves have enough in the tank to threaten Liverpool. It will probably be 0-0 by half time. You know how a number of Liverpool games have been, but I think 2-0, possibly 3-0 Liverpool, but I think 2-0 Liverpool will see this one out and they will extend their lead on the day to 4 points over Manchester City. And then we move on to our 8 games on Saturday. We have one game on Sunday, so we've got 8 games on Saturday, action packed. We start off with the 12:30, which is Arsenal versus Burnley. Arsenal in a bit of a, I wouldn't say bad moment, but they've had two poor results, losing to Southampton in the Premier League and then losing to Tottenham Hotspurs at home at the Emirates, playing pretty much what I would say with the players available to them, their strongest squad possible in the Carabao Cup, and losing 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspurs in that competition. So they come out of that now with, after 22 games unbeaten in all competitions, they're now 2 games lost in all competitions. What can I say? No, it's at home. They're at Emirates. They should have enough to see off Burnley. Burnley are right at the bottom, not right at the bottom, but they're in a bit of a scrap at the moment. They're not doing too well. They're not playing so well. I would have thought by now, we're on game week 17, 18. I would have thought by now Burnley would have sorted their act out, and we would have seen a bit of the same form that we saw last season that got them to finish in 7th. But no, we're not anywhere near that at the moment, and it's looking quite likely that we're not actually going to see that kind of form this season. So they're going to have to play that hanging in there game for the rest of the season. But I think Arsenal are going to see them off. Probably won't keep a clean sheet. They don't usually, so let's give a goal to Burnley just for the sake of giving them a goal. I don't see them scoring, but let's give them a goal anyway because Arsenal just generally give teams goals. And we're going to go with 3-1 Arsenal. 3-1 Arsenal. And then we got Bournemouth at home to Brighton. And I'm like, Bournemouth definitely got this. As good as Brighton have been, and as good as they've been defensively, Bournemouth are going to turn it on. They have to. They've had a couple of, and they had it rough again midweek playing Chelsea in the Carabao Cup and losing 1-0. I think it was Hazard coming off the bench and scoring. Just unlucky in the Premier League, and then on the weekend that is. I know they had a tough set of fixtures with Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, etc., etc. I didn't have to play Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, and losing that is just a rough period for them. Very unfortunate. But playing at home now against Brighton, this is it. Win this game. Win this 2-0, possibly 3-0. I think 3-1 will be the result. I think 3-1. Get a bit of momentum, get a bit of confidence back in them, and they'll be on their way. Surely they can't get any more hard fixtures coming now. I haven't really looked at their fixtures, but possibly, surely they can't be more. So we're gonna give it to Bournemouth 3-1. We got Chelsea at home to Leicester. Leicester are not conceding much. They're not scoring much at all. It's just really just 1-0s and 0-0s and 1-1s. You know, there's not much going on in Leicester games at the moment. But I think Chelsea will win this 2-0. 2-0 to Chelsea. It should be routine enough for them. And then we've got Huddersfield at home to Southampton. A little bottom of the table scrap. Given how Southampton played against Arsenal, I'm gonna give them the victory. I'm gonna say 2-1 to Southampton away from home. Man City's at home against Crystal Palace. I'm looking at 4-0 there, possibly 5. It's gonna be a 4-5-0. Man City won midweek, fielding a somewhat weaker team against Leicester. Match ended 1-1, winning on penalties. But players just back from injury, Kevin De Bruyne and Sergio Aguero played, I assume, to get some match fitness, because Aguero obviously just back from injury, and Kevin De Bruyne pretty much missing the whole season thus far. They started along with Mahrez and Gundogan and some other, Zinchenko and some other players that don't usually play or are not first team or start regularly. So I assume back to normal. Your Sterlings, your Sanes. Could possibly see Kevin De Bruyne start, but whatever team they're going with, I'm seeing 4-0 minimum, and that's what I'm going to go with, 4-0. But don't be surprised if you see 5 or 6. They're coming for that first place. And then we move on to Newcastle versus Fulham, and I'm not even going to say much here. It's just Newcastle win for me. I'm saying 2-0 Newcastle. And then we've got West Ham at home to Watford. Two good teams there. West Ham in really good form. Watford are doing really well. Decore is playing really good in that team at the moment, as is Pereira. But I think West Ham will nick it 2-1 just for them being at home. If it was the other way around and Watford are at home, I would say 2-1 Watford. But just for West Ham being at home, I'm going to say West Ham 2-1. And then we've got Cardiff at home to Man United. Now, this is a big game in the sense that we're really going to see. Well, I say really going to see because it's the first game since Jose Mourinho's sacking, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been appointed, interim manager. He's there to the end of the season until they get, their full-term, long-term replacement. But it's the first game since Mourinho's left. It'll be interesting to see what lineup he will go with. Apparently, news just in, I heard that Lukaku's set to miss United's next 2 games. Apparently, I don't know how true it is, but apparently his father passed away, so he's gone to be with family in this troubled times for him. If it is true, I don't know how true it is. But if there's no Lukaku, Sanchez is still out injured, Martial's just back. It'll be interesting to see what team they'll go with. It'll be interesting to see if Pogba's straight back in the starting lineup in the Premier League. See what Solskjaer does. So it's really hard to say. I don't know how he's going to play. I don't know what tactic. I don't know what formation he's going to go with. Don't know what set of players he's looking to use, who he would prefer. I'm sure Carroll's got a lot to say and tell him about the individuals that they got there. I'm sure Solskjaer knows. So it's really hard for me to say. I mean, if it was a Mourinho team and Mourinho was still there, I would have said United was going to struggle in this away game to Cardiff. I generally would. I would have seen it being like a 1-1, but I can't say that now because a lot of the players were like, I want to say refusing to play for him, but he was a big factor in the players not living up to their full potential, and you could see a much better United side. Not because of the manager, but simply because the players are more willing to play now. And if that's the case, it could be a very good result for Man United. I'm going to say 2-0 Man United. Just based off, and that's basically based off the difference in quality of the two teams. Just on paper, it's not anything to do with form, who's fighting for relegation, who's got a new manager, all of that. None of that's into consideration. It's purely based off of, on paper, Man United 2-0, and that's what I'm going to go with. And then the last game of the game week of the weekend / Friday is the Sunday game. Everton is at home to Tottenham Hotspurs, and that is going to be a very tricky game. Spurs have been struggling for goals recently this season. And they haven't been the best clean sheet keepers this season. You know, I expected more from them. They usually do keep quite a decent amount of clean sheets, mainly due because they've had a lot of injuries at the back. But it will be a very difficult game for them. Everton will look to keep them out. Everton are a solid side themselves. And it's not an easy away fixture for Spurs, but they need to win it if Arsenal are going to be playing at home to Burnley, and Chelsea are playing Leicester, and Man City are playing Crystal Palace. These are looking at all victories, and Spurs are going to need to win. I'm going to go 1-0 Spurs. So that's it for me. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, follow everything. Ciao.